Well, it's just an episode about Disney villains, isn't it? That's what we're doing now.
Disney villains.
Yes.
So Disney now includes the Marvel universe and the Star Wars universe.
Don't forget the Star Wars
universe. God, heaven forfend.
Yeah.
Walt will be turning in his grave.
George will be turning in his pile of money.
Yeah, so is there anything that Disney hasn't bought out yet, apart from us?
But, it's not to say we're not unwilling.
No, we're not unwilling, yeah. So Disney cartoons, cartoon classic Disney.
Yeah, Disney Pixar.
Disney, they fell out for a while. Are they now back in?
They're besties.
Besties again, okay. Marvel, Star Wars.
Fox.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Howling Mad Murdoch signed that off, did he?
I'm not going to comment because I'm not sure whether the legal laws and libel, slander, whatever. I'm not sure how that plays in the podcast world. So I'm not saying anything.
All right.
You can get sued.
All right. Cool. I'll look forward to that. The cease and desist in the post.
Is magic evil?
Yeah.
It is! Well, this episode's going to take a different turn to the one I expected. I thought you were going to go, no.
Well, it really does depend on your point of view, I suppose, which is a pretty typical...
Obi-Wan Kenobi approach to it.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's not. But I could understand why you would think magic is evil.
Right, I would think you're presuming an awful lot there.
Do you think it's evil?
No, I don't think it's evil, but pop culture tends to present it as such and joke about Disney, but Disney villains are kind of, well, they're classified as evil, though in my opinion I think most of them are just trying to get what they want, like Dr. Facilier and Princess and the Frog. He's just a cop.
I haven't seen that one.
I feel sorry for you. He's a bit of a con man. He's trying to make some money because he owes people some money, and he does some stuff with magic. It's not evil. Like Ursula, she signs a contract in The Little Mermaid. She's just trying to protect her interests. That's not evil. She's just a businesswoman.
She is.
She just happens to know magic. But, she is portrayed as being evil. Maleficent, all of the witches and stuff, but they do balance that out with fairy godmothers and things like that, bippity boppity boo. So even Disney's not prepared to commit to magic as evil.
No, and maybe that's the distinction, that magic is not evil, but witches are evil. Evil witches.
Yeah, maybe that is it. That's the one. Yeah. Although, I don't know, are they accidentally with Facilier, for example, he's very much a voodoo kind of guy and tarot kind of guy. Are they kind of portraying certain types of magic as being evil because he uses it that way?
That sounds racist. That sounds really bad. But yeah, people do get this impression that magic that is practiced in the black community does seem to get a much worse rap than other kinds of magic. Like magic, that flavour of magic is somehow more connected with the devil and evilness than, I don't know, Wicca or, Willow's magic, for example, or people like that.
It's different, therefore it's evil.
Yeah.
We white people have created this kind of magic. You're using something else that might use different types of chanting or whatever.
Yeah.
You're dancing around a fire, you're evil.
All witches probably dance around a fire, but
It is evil. It is evil.
Dancing around a fire. You're right.
All right.
Ooh.
So you said it depends on your point of view, perception. Yeah. So I'm guessing there's a role that history has to play in this. Because magic at the beginning wasn't seen as being evil, surely. No,
magic in the beginning. Let me take you back in time.
How very Wayne's World.
Oh my God, we're so old. No one knows what that is.
Tell the story of tens of thousands of years ago that you were there for.
Thanks. I was there.
Because we're so old.
So old. There are certain academics that would like to suggest that, cave paintings, that was a very simplistic form of magic, like sympathetic magic. You draw the hunt on the wall of the cave and you will it into existence, the success.
Kind of like visualization.
Yeah.
Me and my 4 goals.
That's right. Yeah. It's like a vision board, but for cave people back in the day. And some anthropologists have looked at that and sort of gone, well, this is in such a shit location. They're not doing this to create the Mona Lisa and have all of the other cave people come round and have a look and go, I can really see what the artist is doing with this brushwork.
Is that me? Is that me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're not doing it for that reason. They're doing it as a form of sympathetic magic to make the thing that they want to happen. And we see this throughout the ages, and magic wasn't separate from things like science and medicine and culture and religion. It was just all one big, soup. One big society soup of stuff that they all believed in.
Just different ways of doing different things.
Exactly. And magic pops up on all different sides of the planet. What are they called when they dig and they find stuff?
Archaeologists?
Yes. I'm having a moment. It's to do with my age.
It's fine.
Words escape me.
I wasn't sure where you were going with it. Yeah. It's like the idea of digging from one side of the earth and coming out the other. Very,
Jules Verne.
Very Beano-esque.
No, archaeologists, they dig and they find stuff. Well, they've found things that suggest that magic existed at similar times in different parts of the world when there was no possible way of communicating that idea. So it's like a thing that people have practiced. They haven't looked across the ocean and gone, oh, what are they doing over there? That looks cool. Let's do some of that. It's just popping up like the collective unconscious that we've mentioned a couple of times before. So magic has developed through eons. It pops up in cultures, it pops up in art, it pops up in their version of science from back in the day. Like back in the day, astrology and astronomy were identical. They were
the same but different.
The same but different.
Yeah.
Obviously now we've come to understand the way planets work and all of this stuff, and we've come to recognise that the way we thought of the universe in the past wasn't quite right. So at some point science has gone, oh, so if that's not right, then it's all wrong. Yeah, magic is done.
Yeah, go away now.
Yeah, that's just done. I mean, and that was kind of getting all swept up with the religious movements that were happening in a big chunk of the Middle Ages.
Okay. Why do I get the sense that a bunch of white men are about to appear and just decree stuff because that's what they do?
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. Yeah, bunch of white people, white men decided, this is not for you now. I mean, it started to pop up when things like Christianity were really taking hold, as like the goat. This is the thing now, we all have to believe this. So that thing you're doing over there with that horned god, no, that's evil now. We're going to call that guy the devil. So that's the bad guy, and when you look at our mythology, that's the bad guy, and these are all the good guys, so you have to believe this now. And it's kind of
I just like the idea of them like being like, oh, but no, but we're being really inclusive. We've taken elements of what you currently believe now, and we're including them in our new religion so that you can continue to be part of it. It's all good. It says here that it's the devil. Yes, you are the root of all evil in our belief system, but we have included you, so that's fine.
It's like you were there.
I was.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I think it was Pope someone, I forget. This Pope guy was trying to be inclusive and time Christian festivals with festivals that were already happening, so that the people that this religion was being sold to didn't get all upset about it and say, oh, but I liked what I was doing over here with this religious festival. That's my favourite one, and I'll celebrate the return of the light and all of this other stuff. And then the Pope came along and said, no, that's when our God on earth was born, so that's what you're really celebrating now. The end. And that's just kind of how it happened.
Doesn't sound too much like it's been inclusive, more that they've just co-opted existing things and used them for their own ends.
Yeah. That is what happens a lot. So magic was a thing that just everybody did until a certain point in time where it started to become more apparent that some magic was good and some magic was not good. The magic that was good was sort of studied in universities by white men, because they were the ones that got to go to university back in the day.
So this is the high magic.
High magic, that's ceremonial magic that we talked about.
So what people were doing didn't change at all. It just basically a bunch of people reclassified it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said, no, you can't do that now because that's wrong. That's evil. And no real rhyme or reason for it. There were a couple of real, I don't know what you'd call them, like nutcases, I suppose, hardcore believers that practitioners of magic were not kind of following the religious rule book because they weren't communing with God, and they weren't going through priests. I think at some point the religious community, all kinds of religions, sort of looked at what magicians were doing, so people who practice magic, where they were able to communicate with the divine directly, whether that's through divination, so they're throwing some tarot cards around, or they're throwing some bones around, or they're looking up at the stars, or they're whatever, and they are interpreting these symbols as a form of fortune telling. They are communing with the divine all by themselves. They're not going to church, they're not going to a temple, they're just doing it on their own without going through, the, I don't know,
pre-approved routes.
Yeah, exactly. Can't have that. Can't possibly have that. So no, that's wrong. That what you're doing over there, no, that's bad. And then there were some publications that were really influential. I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong because it's Latin, but the Malleus Maleficarum was this book that was produced in Europe, like down the road almost from the first printing press. So this fella, I think there was a couple of fellas got together and they wrote their ideas down in this book, magic bad, witches bad, burn them all, it's just heresy. So they can all be, at the time, that kind of heresy thing was kind of sweeping around going, oh no, we don't like this, so let's just burn all of these people. So it kind of was a bit of an attraction of, oh, well, you can kill people now. We get to kill people now for not believing in the right religions. Oh, we should write that. You should write that in the book.
You don't agree with me, so I will kill you.
Yeah, so the Malleus Maleficarum put practicing magic, witches, on a par with heretics. And then, because the printing press had just been invented, that was it. It was like, whoosh. It's like their version of social media now. It was just Bush out there.
So it's like the first thing we're going to print is the Bible. Second thing we're going to print is permission to burn people.
Yes, it's almost. But yeah.
But is that where it came from? Like the witch trials and stuff like that? Is that how it started? Because people were saying, oh, you know, heresy, burn her.
Well, I think it's important that these ideas existed before the printing press and before publication of that book, but at the end of the day, as soon as they were mass produced in that way, it just swept through Europe, and that was that. Everyone was buying it, everyone was buying into these ideas, to the point where I think the King of England, James I, and then the 6th of Scotland, because it was at the same time, wrote his own book that's kind of described, sort of really bottomed out some of these ideas. Both of those texts were then used in court to sort of prove you're a witch because this is what we're looking for. You've done this. You're a witch because this person has written this in this book.
So when you say court, do you mean like actual court as a version of how we would know it today, or do you mean like the royal court where they just stand in front of people and go, no, you're evil, go away?
No, the law.
Okay.
The law court. I mean, at some point in the past, they did try people properly in court, not just like a mob with pitchforks, rounding people up.
Thinking of Monty Python.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at some point in history, they did develop laws about this, and so there was a justice system to round people up. I mean, it was pretty shit, to be honest. I mean, these people that were rounded up during the witch trials and all of that stuff, they weren't even witches. They were just, I don't know, weirdos.
People that other people didn't like or a bit wary of.
Yeah, I've lent you money, you haven't paid me it back yet. Ah, witch. I don't like the way you've looked at my husband. Ah, witch, you know, that kind of thing. So it was just, I mean, probably the real witches saw it coming a mile away and thought, this is not for me, I'm going to move.
Left.
I'm moving. Yeah, so they rounded all the people up, they were tried in court, and they would use books like the Malleus Maleficarum, the book on demonology that was written by the king. And it did sort of set the precedent that witches, evil, magic, evil. And the only kind of magic that was practiced, and it wasn't really practiced, it was more studied, was that ceremonial magic stuff. And maybe a little bit like, you know, alchemy, which I don't know.
Just science.
Yeah, it's just chemistry, right? It's just chemistry. And astronomy, although they knew that astrology and astronomy were different by that point, they were still sort of looking up and sort of playing about with it, but for science, for social studies reasons. And there was a guy called Agrippa who wrote his books, 3 books of occult philosophy, round about the same time. I mean, and he would get like funny looks and, oh, you sure that's not magic? And he'd go, no. And because he was a white man.
I was going to say, look at my face.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, because he was a white man, it was okay for him to be, but I'm writing this because it's a study. I'm not writing it because I believe in it and I'm secretly doing it on the side.
Although I do have to do it to be able to study it.
Yes. I do have to have an appreciation of it. I do have to like it. I do have to be a witch. Oh,
He said it. Burn him.
Yes. So at some point, the fact that magic is evil came about from what's the word? Hysteria.
Yes, okay, that makes sense.
And then Disney, I don't know, made a buck ton of money off it.
It's just a trope that exists today, doesn't it? It's still now, and it's pop culture tends to portray things in that sense rather than. I mean, there are variations, aren't there? Obviously, I've said about Bibbidi Bobbidi Boob, and you said about Willow magic, and the Charmed ones do the magic for the good. Even films like Practical Magic, where I think everyone's they're witches, we're wary. Oh no, they're good. That's fine.
Yeah.
I generally can't remember what happens in that film, other than Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are witches, and that's okay.
Yeah, they kill a man twice.
He deserved it.
He deserved it.
All right, so religion said magic is bad because we don't like it. We like this stuff over here now. We don't like what we've been doing all this other time. It also said that even though God is everywhere, you can only talk to God in our set standard places, and if you try and talk to him or her somewhere else, then you're a witch and you're evil, so we're going to burn you.
Yeah. And all of your other deities, evil.
Yeah, they're bad. They're right
they're
out.
just devils.
Yeah.
Devils and demons.
We don't burn people now for
No.
this kind of stuff, so there has to have been a shift back, or is it more of just an acceptance that maybe we went overboard and we should just leave it like that? There's not really a kind of this kind of magic is good perception, more of a just don't do what they want. We don't believe it, it's fine, they can do what they want.
No one has ever said you practice magic, that's fine, you can do what you want, it's okay.
All
No
right.
one's ever said that, but what they did say was, oh, yeah, I think we went a bit too far. Like, there's literally no ladies in our village. How are we going to clean things? Who's going to do the ironing? There are no ladies left. We better stop killing all the ladies. So, yeah, we should probably not do that anymore.
All right.
So there were new laws that were drawn up to not say magic was okay. New laws were drawn up that said magic doesn't exist.
Okay.
You cannot accuse your neighbours and your relatives of practicing magic, of being a witch, because it does not exist.
It's
the
not real.
end. Yeah, exactly. They decreed in the justice system that magic wasn't real.
Okay, so that probably leads us to where we are now, where society as a whole is fairly skeptical of the notion of magic and spells and stuff,
Yeah.
and why pop culture tends to portray it in a very different way to how it's actually practiced.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think at some point in the past, I mean, I think it was even as late as 1940 something or other, there was a case that was tried successfully of a woman of practicing witchcraft, and she was a medium, so she would like commune with the dead and all this stuff, blah blah blah. And I think she was successfully tried. I don't know if she went to jail or not, but she was certainly guilty.
How does that chime with the whole it's not real? Or were the laws not in place then?
No, the laws have been in place since the Middle Ages.
Okay, so if it's not real, how did she get tried for it?
Because they've evolved over time, and even in the 21st century, there are laws that protect consumers against charlatans.
Oh, right, okay. So she didn't get tried for practicing magic, she got tried for being a con man, woman, person.
And that's how those have evolved.
Right.
They've evolved from a place of magic doesn't exist to you are conning people.
Yes. Magic doesn't exist, therefore you must be fleecing people and taking them for mugs. Okay, right,
Yep.
okay.
So there are literal EU directives where the esoteric and esoteric businesses are included as part of the shady practices. So much so that we have to put legal disclaimers on stuff that say all of what we do is for entertainment purposes only, which is why when you see Yvette Fielding on the telly running around looking for ghosts, it is her, isn't it?
No idea.
When you see those programs on the TV, ghost hunters running around, and they have to have that disclaimer that says this show is for entertainment purposes only. That's where it comes from.
Which means, and that leads people to go, it's not real.
Yeah.
Because, all right, so that's why we're still so sceptical.
Yeah, but, the fairy godmother didn't rock up to Cinderella with her, oh, can you just sign this disclaimer? It says it's for entertainment purposes only. You just have to tick the little box to say that you've read it.
Any accidental falling in love with princes is nothing to do with us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but wouldn't that be hilarious?
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo Incorporated are not liable for any heartbreak.
That's it, yeah.
It's not evil.
Magic isn't evil, no.
Although some people would like to think it is.
Yeah, but I think you know who those people are. They are I don't know, I wouldn't even call them hardcore religious types, because it's so indoctrinated in Western culture, certainly. And I know other cultures struggle with magic as an evil concept. That we just don't question it, but it's come from the backdrop of the witch trials, all of that hysteria. And it's just part of the accepted position. The earth is round as accepted position. You do believe the earth is round, right?
I was just thinking the rise of the flat earth movement over the last few years, and you're leading with that statement. It's quite fun.
The earth is round.
Because there are people that challenge that. So I don't want us, in challenging the notion that being a witch means you're evil, to put us in the same camp as flat earthers.
Yeah, but it just comes from such a long history of hysteria and oral cultures, or these concepts that just get passed down.
Yeah, stories that are passed down, Hans Christian Andersen stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Grimm fairy tales, all of this kind of witches are bad.
Yeah.
Witches are bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's just pervasive. That's just what they are. It's just in the culture. Mm-hmm. Certainly in the Western culture.
Magic isn't evil, but some people would like to think it is. Witches aren't evil, but some people would like to think they are. Although I presume, actually, much like anything in society, there could be evil witches.
But we see it in Marvel, and we see it in Disney, that it is usually the witch who is the bad guy. And it's, it's a fairy godmother. It's not a good witch. And that doesn't kind of lend itself to moving society away from thinking witches are evil.
Wizard of Oz has good witches.
Glinda the Good Witch.
Yeah. They literally called her the Good Witch.
Yeah. I haven't read the book, but when you watch The Wizard of Oz and you see what she looks like she lives on top of a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
She looks like a fairy. She doesn't look like a witch.
God, for forcing your perceptions and your norms on others. I think it was embracing Technicolor. That was a stylistic choice, surely, because they had all of those vibrant colours in Oz, because they could do that on the films. And then, so it was just a delineation, wasn't it? They put the evil witch in the quintessential evil witch clothes. You've got green face type character. Counterpoint is Glinda, the good witch who looks like a fairy.
Yes, but that's my point, is that the way that, I don't know, I guess pop culture describes witches hasn't changed much.
No, that is true.
From even, Wizard of Oz, which was what, 1930 something?
Like that, yeah. I just don't think it would have had the same impact if Glinda had rocked up in jeans and a hoodie and gone, yeah, I'm the good witch.
But why did she could still have been green, is what I mean.
All right, okay.
But she's not. She
No.
looks like a fairy with that shocking perm or whatever it was she had, and the crown. She wears a crown. She gets to wear a crown. Whereas, I've forgotten her name from Wicked, gets to just wear a pointy hat. Well, why? Is it because she's evil? What made her evil? Well, you have to go see Wicked.
Let's go see Wicked, yeah.
You have to go see Wicked
It's on the list.
to find out what makes her evil. But, I mean, she's green in that.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, having not seen Wicked, and I know you don't like origin stories that make you sympathetic towards a villain, but I think there is stuff in that kind of shows you how she ends up the way she does, because she doesn't start out evil, much like Maleficent in the film. Maleficent doesn't start out evil. Things happen. So
Yeah.
it is there, but you don't want to know about it because you don't want to feel sympathetic to your villains.
Yeah, I'm a bit weird. I think I'm going to pepper that with I'm traumatized. So, no, I
Fair
think
enough.
villains are just villains. But, I mean, so the witch, the Wicked Witch of the West, she has a name.
Yeah, I can't remember.
No, I can't remember.
Because
what
I
it
haven't
is.
seen Wicked.
No, alright, but she's always green. So, I don't...
Yeah, she doesn't turn green when she becomes evil.
Yeah, right.
She's just a green person.
Yeah. So that's what I don't understand. Do they have like ethnicities within that community? And was it just racism?
We need to go and watch Wicked.
I think so.
All right, that's it. That's our show. We're going to go and see
Bye.
Wicked. Bye, everybody. Magic isn't evil. Unless you think it is. Said Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. So magic in Star Wars, that's both used by good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So in and of itself, it's just a tool that exists.
Yes, although Star Wars fans would tell you that the Force isn't really magic.
What? Why?
It's just an energy. It's just how you can tap into it and use it. It's not magic. They're not casting spells and stuff. Like in that sense, it's, I'm not getting into this online because the Star Wars fan community will find us and will be cancelled quicker than you can say use the Force, Luke.
Oh, okay, but as a magical practitioner, to be able to move shit with your mind
Telekinesis.
and pick up on the energy of other people and know what they're thinking and get into their heads and stuff like that, that is magic, even if they're calling it something else. So maybe because it was a long, long time ago and in a galaxy far, far away, they didn't use those labels.
Don't use the Star Wars lines against me.
They didn't use those labels of magic and witches. They used the Force and Jedis and Siths, whatever Vaders are. Yeah.
Vaders, plural. There are many Vaders.
Aren't there? The Sith, yeah.
No, you want Jeff Vader? There's a very wonderful Eddie Izzard routine where he's called the Death Star Canteen, where Darth Vader is just trying to get some lunch. It's brilliant. It's so funny. Well worth listening to.
So it's less that magic is evil and it's the way people can use it as a tool.
Mm-hmm. And how it's perceived by people.
Yeah, how it's perceived by people, absolutely. Yeah. But I don't know, did you ever think magic was evil?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely would have thought witches were evil because I was a child who, lived through copious number of Halloweens and Disney films and various other bits and pieces. So yeah, that was the stereotype. That was the trope, wasn't it? That's how it was.
Yeah. So we're raising our children to believe that witches are evil when we read those bedtime stories.
Yeah. Even my son, when he was little, watching Ben and Holly, there's Mrs. Witch on that, and she's not evil, but he was scared.
Yeah.
He was scared when she come on the screen. He didn't like it. Didn't like witches. Not at all.
Yeah, loads of kids programs like Chorlton and the Wheelies.
See, you're going to a much older reference. I'm trying
Of
to
course.
make it a bit more modern, bring in the youth. I mean, even Ben and Holly's like a 10-year-old reference.
But yeah, so we just keep going with the witches are bad, witches are bad.
Well, there's only however many stories there are in the world, and
well, we could make new ones.
no, I know, but I mean, you know, like the tropes. There are like 7 stories and that hero's journey and all of that sort of stuff. And they just use the same things. They just retell the same stories again and again and again. If it ain't broke, the witch is evil.
Can I put in a counterpoint that it is broken?
Well, yeah, obviously.
We shouldn't.
I'm not advocating.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we should forever say this. I'm just saying it's an easy norm for society to fall into, isn't it? That's why it's just simple.
And I think in some of the recent Marvel stories, I have been slightly disappointed with the outcome of some story arcs that seem to suggest witches are still evil.
Yeah, I mean, spoilers for anyone who still hasn't watched some of the more recent Marvel films. But, I mean, yes, I struggle more with how they kind of make that happen rather than the notion that that person is actually evil. It's more kind of like how everything they've been through and the kind of the psychological damage of some of their experiences and grief and things like that turn them that way, and the sort of like the lengths to which they would go to achieve what they want, which is how we are shown that is as an evil thing, whereas the flip side is actually they are, you know, protecting what's theirs in their mind, that sort of thing. So it's interesting, but I do think I'm not overly comfortable with this whole kind of woman is hysterical, is evil kind of thing. So. Exactly,
and I think it's interesting in that show how, well, for me, I took it in a different way. I took it that both of the main characters are reading the same book. It corrupts one but not the other, or at least not fully the other. I mean, who knows what direction it's going to go in
that's the thing.
This whole story.
That would be my counterpoint, and this is quickly turning into a Marvel fan cast.
But we're talking about Magick and overlay that.
But we haven't seen the rest of that story. So
no.
So you're right. There are 2 main characters. They've both read the same book, but one has spent a lot of time off screen reading the book in advance of the film, and they are at a point in time. Yeah. The other character we see starts reading it in the film, and we haven't got to that point where they are at the same point the other person was. Yeah. So they could well be.
And that same book pops up in other shows to do with this whole Marvel universe. Now,
I'm not saying that other main character will end up as corrupted as the other one, the first one, because, you know, I don't think they'd go there, but we haven't seen it. So,
no.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, that's my point, is that we're still, even now in 2022...
perpetuating the stereotypical norms of the female character, the witch character is evil.
Can't handle the magic,
Can't handle the magic, has to do things, is, you know, willing to do whatever, bad magic, grr, on people. Try not to describe exactly what happens. Whereas well, actually, no, that's a really good distinction, because the male character, whilst accepting the Marvel kind of, you know, spin your hands around and make magic happen rather than actual spell casting and stuff, although he does do spell casting, is portrayed, or certainly given to us visually, as more ceremonial. Yeah. More high magic with the cape.
Yeah, exactly. He wears a motherfucking cape, for God's sake.
All right. Anyway, yeah, but also, you know, there is a hierarchy. There is an order. They are very much in ceremonial high magic. Yeah. Whereas the witch character is on her own, doing her own thing. reading the same stuff. But yeah, actually, there is this kind of like, there's runes involved, which we don't talk about because they're problematic in other parts of the Marvel medium in which she exists, and it is more kind of low magic, I guess, in how it's portrayed. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we're still, I mean, that was going on like 120 years ago.
Yeah. But then we go back to the whole, it's easy. Ben and Holly has a Mrs. Witch character who looks like your stereotypical witch because it's easy. It's a lazy narrative. That's what we do.
Wow, come on, storytellers. Don't be lazy. Be better. Witches are not evil.
But then, flipping it again, because I feel I need to, shout out Hayao Miyazaki and the Studio Ghibli stuff. Witchcraft in those anime is never really perceived as being evil. I mean, you have a whole film devoted to witches who go out and become like the witch within society and help them and stuff. So Kiki, Kiki's Delivery Service is about a young witch going out and finding her way and finding a town to live in and support people and find her place and develop and stuff. So
I don't know anything about anime.
Well, I feel sad for you.
You don't want to know about the anime I've seen.
I think you would like. Well, no, okay, yeah, that's why you don't. You should watch. I think you'd like Kiki's Delivery Service. Actually,
Okay.
It's fun and it does portray it in a nice way. And you can watch the English version without the subtitles. You can listen to Kirsten Dunst.
Okay. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah. I find it hard not to say her name like Dopinder from Deadpool. Which is not a good thing.
So the Japanese are representing magic and witchcraft in a different way to the creators of Ben and Holly.
Yes, but
clutching at straws. No offence to the creators of Ben and Holly.
Well, they created Peppa Pig as well, so I think offence too. But they are in Kiki's Delivery Service in particular. They're depicting it in a very Western stylized way. So she still has a broomstick. She has a black cat. She has black robes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it is a very traditional Western witch, but her role in society is a positive one. So yeah.
Yeah, I do wish that more of that should end up permeating through society. And then maybe we can ditch this, centuries old idea that magic is evil, witches are evil, and then maybe one day women won't be seen as evil.
Maybe.
That's the dream.
Feels like a pipe dream.
It is. Oh, so bad. But I think if we're really going to be honest about ourselves here in the West, I think the real evil is the white man. We should make TV shows about that.
Money.
Money is evil.
Yeah, money's evil.
Money is not evil. It isn't.
Have you got some? Is that why you're saying that? Because I don't have any, so I think it is.
No, money is definitely not evil.
All right, but I think you would enjoy some of the Studio Ghibli animes and how they depict magic. It's quite it's more progressive, I would say, and it's very positive. I'm not convinced you'd like the one with the raccoons with magic testicles, but who knows?
Magic testicles, eh?
Yep.
It sounds rude. Like, in my head, what's coming out of those testicles and how it gets out into the world.
Pretty sure at one point one of them creates like a flying boat out of its magic testicles. I may be misremembering, but who knows? But yeah, it's but the whole thing. I mean, it's the Studio Ghibli films are quite. They have a positive message all the time. It's very largely, ecological, strong environmental messages. Witchcraft is good, power of family, that sort of stuff. It's all nice stuff. Don't watch Grave of the Fireflies; that'll break your heart. But yeah, so there are other ways of perceiving magic. He said as if that was a lesson you needed to learn.
Thank you for
I have mansplained
mansplaining it to me.
That's
I
it.
appreciate
That's our show.
I appreciate
The white man has spoken. Men are the worst.
But you don't think magic is evil?
No, I don't think magic is evil. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's just the same as everything else, isn't it? It can be used in different ways by different people for different means, and society has allowed itself to think that it is only evil because that is what a whole bunch of white men in the past told everyone it was. And it's, it's a trope, it's a stereotype, it's lazy, and therefore it's easy, and it's continually perpetuated because of that ease of which it can be used for narrative purposes. Yeah.
The end.
The end. ...
Question mark.
Magenta will return in... I watch too many movies.
That's it. That's our show. So that's it. That's our show. If you liked it, give us a rating and review, share with others, tell your friends. You'll find all our contact stuff over at magentaschoolofmagic.com, including our social media and links to the Magic School itself.